Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 214 podcast. I'm your host, Rick Carmen, back for another week. This is episode 6. We made it to episode 6. Man, it seems like just yesterday we're at episode 0000. But we made it to episode 6. Just me today and JT. Hey, JT. He says, hey. And it is hot. It's really hot. We're in Arkansas. We're in the Ozark Mountains, Northwest Arkansas area, and it is hot. I would say probably 100 degrees. Heat index probably, I don't know, 102, something like that, 105. I don't know. Had a little bit of wind today, so that was okay. But man, it's just hot. So um, we got to mow now because it rained, and now we've got to mow and mow and mow, but it's too hot to mow. So we got to mow either early in the morning and the grass is wet, or we got to mow late in the evening when we're all tired from being hot all day. So that's what we're looking at here. And so I just thought, hey, I'll do a podcast, and that'll get me out of mowing, and it'll get me out of being hot. Although I do have a fan going, so that may be something you might hear, you may not. I don't know. So anyway, today we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about a little bit about what I've had going on. We're going to talk about, let's see, what else we're going to talk about? Stuff going on in the world. Just weird stuff happening. Talking about what's going to happen in the future, what we got going on for this channel, other channels, other people. Talk about other guests coming up, and just a lot of different things. So it's going to be kind of it's going to be a fun episode, I think. It may be all over the place. I don't know. I'm still kind of getting a groove of this thing, getting groovy. My my guy JT, he doesn't help much. He's supposed to be a co-producer, but all he does is look stuff up on the internet. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to dock his pay or something. What do I pay you? Okay, maybe it's free. So you get what you pay for, they say, and I'm certainly getting what I pay for. First item today, it's exciting. I got something exciting to tell you. I got a package, and we're going to do the very first unboxing on this show today. And let me show it to you. Can you see that? Let's say Bogey Bros. Now, Bogey Bros is a hat company where I got this hat. A lot of you guys have seemed to like this hat. I love this hat. It's nice and breathable. But they have a lot of hats. Some of their hats are not very Christian-like, I'll have to admit. So you can tell they're not a Christian organization, but they have a few hats that I like. This is one. So I wanted to open it on air because I wanted to get it on. I hope maybe I'll play some exciting music on this. Look at that. 4. Anybody play golf out there? You dudes play golf out there? What do I do with this? All right. Oh, look here. What is this? Who cares about that, right? Who cares about that? Man, this hat, man, it's thick. It's heavy. I had to wait on this hat. It was sold out for a long time. I had to wait on it. Look at the mesh. I mean, this is going to be a breathable hat. This is something I can wear in this heat, you know? And it's kind of like this one, but this one is not breathable. I got this at a cross country meet. Look at me. I look like Darth Vader, when they took the mask off. So I'm going to put this over here. Let's try this baby on. A little big. Huh? What do you think? Huh? You like it? Let's try it. Try this. I don't know, man. I like it looser. I like it a little looser, man. You know, breathe a little bit. Breathe a little bit. There we go. There we go. Look at that, man. Looks sharp. Yeah, man. Got it going on now. JT, got it going on now. All right. So we got the unboxing. So that's my unboxing, my very first unboxing video. That's exciting. I'll put the link down below where this came from, so that and the other hats, so you can if you want to partake in it. Every now and then, when the wife lets me, I'm going to purchase a hat and unbox it here, because I'm a hat guy, because I'm bald, and bald guys are hat guys for the most part, because our heads burn and everything. So I wear a hat pretty much all the time, except when I'm in bed. But because when you roll over, your bill gets, stuck in the pillowcase or whatever. So I can't do that. Can't do that much. Today I don't have my earphones on. I had my earphones on with my interview last week, and it's a little different today. I can't really hear myself, so I don't know. I might stick with the earphones. I might. Today I don't have earphones on, so how's that look? Does that look good? Yeah. Got me a black shirt on. Hope I don't see anything going on. I got black on. I like black. Black Under Armour, all that stuff. So my head's bald, but I get this little hair going on around here. We talked about this last week, where we get the little shoehorn going on. So what I use is Western Razor. And if you go to westernrazor.com, you can get Western razors, and they're American made, and they're like 100. I'll put it up real quick. I want to talk about this, because if you're a bald guy like me, and you wear and you use razors, like, I just figured this out. Get rid of those disposable razors, the ones you buy at Walmart. I don't know what they are, Gillette or whatever the brand they are. The disposable ones with the, get rid of those. Get rid of those. These razors are expensive, okay? Westernrazor.com, and I'll put a link down below on this too. But they're like, you can get, it's like a starter kit, like a Supreme bundle thing. It's $110. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is expensive, right? But you get the razor, and you get like 50 blades. I've had this razor for 6 months at least, and I've used 2 blades, and I shave my head, my face, and everything. So I've used 2 blades, and I think I bought like an extra thing of blades. So I think I got 100 blades, and they're double-sided blades. And it's a heavy razor. It's really heavy, and it's really good for me. And man, it you can't cut yourself because the way it's made. And I'll put a picture up. You'll see. Anyway, that's what I've been using on this beautiful mug right here. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So get rid of those razors, man. Get rid of those disposable razors. They're no good, man. They're expensive in the long run. They're expensive. I mean, you have to buy them all the time, and they don't last that long, and they don't do that well either. So get you a nice razor, a nice, heavy one. You know what I'm saying? Nice heavy. Like, I used to buy electric razors, and I started when I first started, because I was in the military and I needed something to do, to have razors all the time. So when I first started, I bought these cheap razors, and they didn't last very long. Then I finally broke down. I was like, man, I'm gonna buy me like a $300 disposable razor, and I've had that thing for over 10 years, at least, probably 15 years. I've had it, and it's still going. I've replaced the blade part in it like 3 or 4 times, 5 times, but the machine itself still rocking and rolling. I probably will get a nice updated one at some point, but when you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, looking good, you got to spend a little bit of money. You can't go cheap sometimes. I remember one time when I was in Iraq, I bought this razor. They'd set up these little PXs or BXs, whatever you want to call them, in Iraq, and you could go buy stuff like toiletries and stuff like that. I bought this electric razor, and I was like, doing all the things. I was walking around, and everybody's like, "Dude, you got like black marks all over you." So the razor had turned my face black because it was just cheap. It was just a cheap razor, and so it made me look like I had more hair on my face. So anyway, that's that's what I don't know. That's what you get, I guess, for buying stuff at a BX in the desert, right? So what else we're going to talk about, JT? The movie. We want to talk about movies. So I've been making a point to like go do more stuff, get out of the house, get off the property, get off the plantation here, and go do some stuff. So I took JT to see young George Washington. And because we're celebrating America 250 around here and all that stuff. So when we saw it, and I'm telling you what, man, that movie was outstanding. It was probably the best movie I've seen in a long time. It had Kelsey Grammer in it and a bunch of other people I didn't recognize, but Kelsey Grammer's really good. And I'm not sure who made that movie. I don't. Oh, it was Angel. It was Angel Network, because if you join Angel Network, you get free tickets. We got free tickets to this movie from Angel Network. So, is that light too bright? It's all right. I think it's all right. Shining on my head here. So we got 2 free tickets to this movie. So we went in and we just had to buy popcorn and stuff, and that was it, man. So if you're not on Angel Network, join it. You can. It's just an app, though. Like, you can't watch it on your TV unless you can get the app on your TV. I think it's just an app for your iPad or whatever. So we haven't really. My wife watches all the time, but I haven't really got to watch it much on the at home. But they have a lot of different movies that you get that you get free tickets for, and I don't know why. I don't know how that happens. I'd have to ask my wife. But like, they have a movie coming up with Ronald Reagan. It's got Jeff Daniels in it, and there's another movie called Runner. I think it's called Runner, and it's got Alan Richardson in it. Which here's a point I want to say. Let me take a drink here. Now, here, listen to me. Stop what you're doing. Pull over. Be careful with Angel Network, because in any network that claims to be a Christian organization or stuff like that, you notice these movies are getting better, and you notice these Hollywood people they're getting bigger Hollywood people, like Dennis Quaid, and other people that haven't normally been, I guess, or organized with these Christian production companies, and so like Jeff Daniels and Alan Richardson, people like that. You just have to understand that they're not necessarily, I guess, hiring just Christians anymore. Even The Chosen, most of those actors weren't Christian. A lot of them weren't Christian before they did The Chosen. So a lot of them got saved during The Chosen, but so you have to be careful with that. Satan is trying to work his way into everything, and I think sometimes these people like the Angel Network are trying to push stuff off as like, hey, this is nice Christian fun, where you got people in the movie that aren't necessarily Christian. They might say they're Christian, but they don't act Christian. Okay. There's a difference between saying you're a Christian and acting Christian. A lot of these football players say they're Christian, then they end up in jail over the weekend. You know, they're praying and thanking God for their touchdown, and then they're calling somebody for bail, during the weekend. So just because it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck doesn't mean it's a duck. Okay. So look for the values, and you make a choice if you want to watch this. Like, I don't watch anything with Alan Richardson in it anymore. That I don't like him. I don't like him as a person. I like the movies he's in sometimes, and I want to watch them. But sometimes you got to pick a hill to die on. I pick my battles. Like my wife says, you can't boycott everything. And I figured out she's right. I can't boycott everything, but I can pick things that I want to boycott. I can pick things I want to do and I want to expose myself to. But I do understand that these this network in particular and other Christian networks may have some people on that aren't exactly walking the walk. But now I don't know if they're claiming they're walking the walk, but they're certainly putting it out like there are, like the what's Chip and Joanna Gaines people. They really ticked a lot of people off with their programming, and they're claiming that they're Christian, but they're the shows that they're having on their network are not organized in Christian values. And so, you're either going to stand firm in your Christian values or you're not. And so they chose not to do that. And, they lost me as a customer. So just be aware of that. Just know that, not everything is as it seems. Now, these Christian organizations, these production companies, they're getting better movies. Movies are getting better. Why? Because they're bringing in better actors that either aren't Christian or they are Christian, and they're just now, because Hollywood is not like Christianist-centric. They're not. It's like you can't be a Republican and you can't be a Christian in Hollywood. So now people are just now coming out as Republicans, and they're just now coming out as Christians, and they're just now getting strong in their faith and getting strong in their, standing up for what they believe in. So you may have some of that where you have people that maybe they were Christians, you just didn't know it because they were hiding the fact that they were, and now they're in these Christian movies, So anyway, that's kind of what I go through when I watch these movies. I just have to make a choice of whether or not I'm going to watch the movie or not. I love Owen Wilson, who's in this Runners movie with Alan Richardson. I don't know Owen Wilson's faith background or anything like that. I don't know that much about him, but I like his movies, and I want to watch this movie. It looks like a good movie, but I just don't think I'm going to. I might maybe change my mind, but for now, that's a hill that I don't want to die on. So that's not a battle that I want to face. So we face a lot of things like that in life. It's not just movies; it's everywhere, right? When you're dealing with people, people that you want to deal with at work, or even companies you want to work for, or people you want to date, men or women you want to date, you have to take that into account. I talk about this to my kids all the time, my wife all the time. I don't. Democrats and Republicans now, they're further apart than they have ever been, and I say Democrats loosely because Democrats are kind of in the middle now, and Republicans in the middle now. You got your rhinos, and then you got your Democrats, and then you got your Trumpers, and then you got your far left wackadoos, right? So from the far left wackadoo to the Trumpers, we're further apart than we ever have been. That's why there's so much division in this country, right? But when you get to the center, when you got your rhinos and you got your regular Democrats, they're more like Reagan and Clinton, back in the day, or Reagan and Carter or something like that. So, and Bush and Clinton and Reagan and Carter. So, um, so when you're picking a mate or you're picking a life partner or whatever, you have to make sure that you agree. It's not that you have to agree politically, but a lot of times agreeing politically means you agree value wise. Your values are similar. Okay. So it's not about politics necessarily. It's about values. So the values of the Republican Party and the values of the Democratic Party now more than ever are contrasting. So, when I married my wife, we didn't talk about politics at all. That wasn't something we thought about, 15 years ago, because like I said, the parties were they're kind of close enough together. I mean, when Clinton got into office, he didn't do too bad of a job, and it wasn't that big of a contrast. I mean, didn't vote for him, didn't like him, but you know, even though he's from Arkansas, but he wasn't anything like Joe Biden. So. Um, so back then it wasn't a big deal, but now it's such a big deal that if you're Christian, you have Christian values, you want to make sure, especially if you're a young man, if you're a young man in your 20s or something, you're looking at getting married, you need to think about, it shouldn't be a deal breaker, but just think about those kind of things like, what do you believe? What church do you go to? What do you believe in Jesus Christ and that he died for our sins and he rose on the third day? Is that something you believe? And if it is this something you follow or something you want? A lot of people believe. I mean, Satan believes it, right? So, Satan believes in Jesus Christ. He believed Jesus Christ died and rose on the third day. Anybody can believe it, but do you follow it? Do you follow him? That's the question, right? So you have to ask these people that you're dating, and I talk to my kids about this all the time. Find out who they are and what they stand for before you even think about dating them. I mean, of course, you're going to have an attraction, but that attraction is intellectually for the most part. At least with my kids, it is. They're very cerebral, even though I can't say the word. They are very that. They got all their intelligence from their mother, and I'm not sure what they got from me. Maybe a bad attitude, but they got their looks and their intelligence from their mom. So anyway, that's something, if you're a young man out there or if you have young teenagers, that's something to think about. We kind of went a long way around this rabbit hole, but just talking about these movies, I just feel like sometimes, in an effort to make better movies, in an effort to get the audience on board, and maybe to make money, these Christian organizations or production companies sacrifice some of their values by putting people in the movies that sometimes don't align with the values of the production company or the values of the audience that they're targeting. So that's kind of what I worry about. And I don't know if it's on purpose or I don't know. And look, I'm not judging these people. I don't know a lot of these people or what they stand for. Alan Richardson, I only know what I see and what he does and the way he acts and the language he uses. And he says he's a Christian, but I could tell you, um, I use bad language when I'm angry, but I wouldn't go on TV and use bad language just to use it. And so, when I'm angry, I try not to use bad language. And when I do use bad language, I feel guilt over that. And I certainly want my kids to see me on the TV using profanity. And I'm not talking about in movies. I'm talking about in interviews. Okay. And then some of the things he does, physically too, is just, and I don't agree with his political values. So this guy is all around, and I honestly, I don't think he's that great of an actor. He's been in good movies, but he's not that great of an actor. So anyway, get off Alan Richardson because he kicked my butt if he were here, and I hope he doesn't ever see this. But we're getting off film. We're going to move on. There's another movie we watched, and I want to talk about 80s movies before we get to this last movie, but 80s movies and 90s movies. I've been introducing my kids to 80s and 90s movies because they're better movies. They're better made. They have better. I thought I seem to think they had better values, but as we go on and we watch these movies, it's like they do have better values in a way where they're, you know, they just certain ways they have better values, but we have noticed because they're better movies. First of all, they're just better actors, better movies. There's more creativity now. Every movie's the same. Every movie's a Star Wars movie, or every movie's a superhero movie. It's just like, and then they've run back all these old movies and made new movies out of them. So a couple movies. So my kids, they love 80s and 90s movies, but we have to kind of either find the movies that are on TV that are bleeped out, or we have to fast forward through, because we found out there's a lot of nudity for some reason in the 80s and 90s movies. And I think it's because, we didn't have video games or social media or anything to keep our um to keep our to keep our mind occupied. So I think people will just like in movies, they just throw a naked person on there just for no reason. um got an issue here. Stand by. Anyway, had an issue. My rundown thing has lost its power, losing its power. So anyway, I may have to go to the sheet. I may have to go to the sheet of paper. I've got to run sound. So I got to set up. I got a computer here where it shows me, because I can't see. I don't have a monitor where I can see me. So my computer here shows me. You can't see that. You're the camera. I'm looking at you. And then I got this rundown here. Okay. And then I got the old backup plan. This is the old 80s backup plan. So anyway, my rundown, which is an iPad, is losing power for some odd reason. Stand by, everybody. Here I am. I'm guessing that that particular outlet I got it plugged into doesn't work, so that's why. That's why I am not getting power or juice, as they say. So anyway, that's really unprofessional. I'm sorry, but these things are kind of real, right? These podcasts are real deals. They're supposed to be organic. So that's as organic as it gets, me showing you my butt while I'm bending over trying to pick up that charger thing. So I don't know if I can get it charged in. My producer's not around, but I don't think I have another charger close. So we'll just go with the paper. Anyway, where was I? So the 80s movies, they had a lot of nudity in them, and cussing is really the same in all the movies. It's just the nudity, really, that's more 80s and 90s that we had to kind of go through, because I don't let my kids, even though they're 15 and 16, I don't let them watch nudity, and I try to hold off on the profanity. Especially if the profanity is related to sexual innuendos, like things they may have never even heard of. We heard of it when I was a kid. We cussed all the time. We knew everything there was, because all there was do was talk about sex and sports and music. That's all there was. Now there's so much more these kids are into. A lot of these kids are way better kids than we ever were, as far as the sinning culture goes. So just because it's the year 2026 doesn't mean everybody's sinning more than they were back in the 80s and 90s. It's just a different kind of sin too. Everybody sins. It's just a different kind of sin. I remember. I'll talk about this later, but I finished the New Testament yesterday, in fact, and I think it was either it was John, or I think it was First John or one of the letters Paul was writing to the churches. Somewhere in there, they were talking about just the different sins that the churches were involved in. Like, so all the churches sinned. It's like, um, he's like, you're doing well, but you need to fix this. You're doing okay in the another church. You're doing okay, but you need to fix this. So each church had a different sinning culture. I heard Josh Howerton from Lake Point talk about that recently. That one of his campuses was sinned in a different way than the other campus. So it's a common thing with churches, and it's a common thing with I guess generations. From the '80s to the '90s to the 2000s and to now. So we all sin. It's just a matter of how and why and where and when and how long and blah blah blah. Right. So speaking of sin, a great movie we watched. Well, the reason I bring up the 80s and 90s, we watched Full Metal Jacket last night. We had to fast forward a lot of it. And my dad had told me, he's a Vietnam vet, and he said, man, the boot camp part of that movie was very accurate. He said, but the rest of it was crap. And I didn't realize it, but the rest of it was crap. Like 90% of the movie, or I would say 70% of the movie, was boot camp part. And it was the most vulgar part, actually. And we had to bleep a lot of it out and everything. But my son, who wants to go into the Marine Corps, I thought, he needs to see this boot camp thing. He's seen clips of it before, on the internet, but I wanted him to see that. So, but the rest of the movie was kind of like, wasn't that good, and the quality of the cinematic quality wasn't good. The storyline wasn't really, there really wasn't a storyline, actually. I just never realized that. I've seen that movie once before, and this was probably the second time I've seen it, and I just never realized it. So I know what my dad was talking about now. I don't know if he meant it wasn't accurate in the second part of the movie, or if it just wasn't a very good movie. But either way, it wasn't good, and it had a lot of in the first part. It had a lot of bad language. The drill sergeant was pretty accurate in that. And then before that, we watched Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah, baby. From the Delta to the DMZ. We watched that movie. Now that was a good, wholesome movie mostly. It had Forrest Whitaker, who was an outstanding actor in it. And then that guy, what's that guy's name? Robin Williams. So that was a good movie, and my kids really enjoyed that movie. And it was a true story. I don't know how accurate it is, but it was a true story. And I'm going through a lot of movies because we don't normally watch movies, but we've hit a lot because it's been so hot and we haven't been outside doing a lot. So we watched Jesus Revolution, and I've been wanting to watch this for a while, but we have YouTube TV, so we wait until the movies come out for free. Like I've been wanting to show my kids Air America, but it's like you have to rent it or buy it. They won't put it on there for free. So I set my recorder up, like if it ever comes out, it'll record it. But so this time we've done that with Full Metal Jacket, and it finally recorded. And I did that with Jesus Culture, and I'm waiting on Air America to come along, but we'll see. But that was a good movie. It was about this guy named Lonnie. What's his last name? JT? Lonnie Frisbee. And it had my guy in it, Fraser guy. What's Fraser guy? Kelsey Grammer in it again, and he was really good. The movie it was weird because if you haven't seen it, the movie was I thought less about Lonnie Frisbee and more like his apprentice guy, the younger guy, and the pastor who was played by Kelsey Grammer. So Lonnie Frisbee was a part of it, but it I don't know. It was still a good movie. It was a great movie, and it got me to thinking. Remember back in the 80s and 90s when they used to have these revivals, and they had these big tent revivals, and you go out in the middle of nowhere, and there'd be a big tent and people preaching and singing and playing music. People would bring potlucks and casseroles and all that stuff. I usually would go because I would want to be dating this girl, and it turns out they're always like some kind of religion, and they always either take me to church because I was a heathen, and they either take me to church or take me to these revival things, and I was always just tag along. I never really got the God thing. I was just there for the girl, but I never understood. I never really tried to get the God thing. I just was like, I was just hanging out with her and her parents, just because, but I went to a lot of these things. I don't know why. I guess God was trying to move me in a direction, and I was just too stupid to figure it out. God would give me a girl that I'd want to chase, and I'd chase her right into a church or chase her right into these big revival things. But I went to a lot of these things, and they were exciting and everything. And then they had that movie that came out with Steve Martin, who he played some kind of revival preacher. I remember that. But I was thinking, man, why don't we do that these days? Why don't we have revivals anymore? I mean, if anybody's out there, let's get it together. I got a friend who owns like a town around here, like a small town, my SEAL buddy. He owns a small town. So I'm thinking if I could get him, open up the town, we'll get these big tents, that they rent for fairs and carnivals and stuff like that. And we start our own revival, 2026, 2027 revival, man. Bring all these preachers from the local area, and then even some bands, to come play and get it going on. Bring it out. Let's do it again. Maybe do it not right now because it's too hot. Maybe do it in October, somewhere at least October around here. I don't know. Probably not October in like the northeast, but around here you can do it in October because it stays warm here through November. Thanksgiving Day is usually about 78 degrees, 80 degrees. It's like living on the equator, but without all the fun, So anyway, that was my revelation about Jesus' revolution. Last week we had Ashley Brodnax on, and she was a great interview. If you have not seen the interview with Ashley Brodnax, go back and watch it. I'm gonna try to put some kind of link down below, maybe where you can click on it. It was a great interview, great person, and she's running for vice president of the NAUGUS, which is the Enlisted Association of the United States of America, and she's also now running for city council. I think I spurred her into the city council. She was on the fence when she was here, and now she's running for city council. I don't know. I think that was kind of I think maybe I might have had something to do with that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll ask her. We'll ask her when she comes back. She's supposed to come back. Of course, she may get too big. She may be too big and too fancy and never come back. So that's possible. It's possible she'll get too Hollywood for us, and she won't come back and see us. But that was a good good interview. We had a great time. If you haven't seen it, go look for it. It's called Ashley Brodnax. It was the last video, episode number 5 that we did, and we're going to do another interview. I'm hoping to get my friend Bill Dumas on here to interview and talk about his past and his future and his present, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him. He's taking a new job, and so I don't know if his schedule's going to line up or not. So we may have an interview next week. We may not. I just don't know. So I can't promote it really, but I'll tell you that I'm trying to. And if it's me next week, it's me next week, and we might just push Bill back to another time. So I told you I finished the New Testament. Let me mark this off. Yeah, I finished the New Testament last night, and I think it's a 92 day. I think it's 92 something days, 92 day thing in the YouVersion Bible app, and it's Bible recap with TARA-LEIGH Cobble. I'll put that on the screen if you can see it. And then it was a really emotional moment for me. I've never been through the whole Bible. I've read a lot of it here and there, like everybody does. And of course, all the famous verses that they repeat in church every time you go. But this was really great. You read the Bible like 15 minutes a day. It gives you a chronological order of reading, and then she comes on and she recaps the Bible and it kind of explains what happens and all that stuff in kind of layman's terms. And sometimes she has the Bible Project people do a thing. I guess they're connected in some way. So yeah, so I don't know how that works, but it's kind of cool because when she was reading through the Bible, her pastor said he must be a really good pastor, because he said she said, I read through the Bible, I didn't understand it, and he's like, and she said, I didn't like what I read because I guess she thought in the Old Testament God was mean or something. He said, well, go back and read it again and look for Jesus in there and not yourself. And she went and read it again, and it changed her life, I guess. And then she said, then what he would do is she would read a part of it, and then she would go back to him and say, I don't understand this. And he would say, well, here's what they mean, So he would give her a little commentary on that. And so I guess after that, she decided, hey, that's a good idea for Bible channel. So she started on YouTube. She started doing that where she would recap and everything. And then she got with YouVersion Bible app, and then they put it on there. Which YouVersion is hard to get a Bible app on there. You have to submit like paperwork, and you have to go through all these hoops, and so they don't just let anybody put an app on there. So she finally did that. And so anyway, so we're starting the 365 part of it. And we're going to start with the Old Testament and get through that. I don't know how long that's going to take, but then we're going to do the New Testament again, and we'll finish up in, about this time next year, I guess. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm just blown away. I'm just excited that I can now go to heaven and say, if God says, hey, did you read the Bible I sent you? And I said, well, I read the New Testament. I read the part about Jesus. And he'll say, well, it's all about Jesus. Okay. So I don't want to get, up there and he'll say, you really didn't participate in what I had going on down there. You didn't read the rules that I sent you. You didn't even put in the effort. So now I can go at least say, I tried, so now this time next year, if I make it, I get done, I can go to heaven and I can say, yeah, hey, I read it all. I didn't understand a lick of it, but I read it all, sir. And can you let me in on the, on the West Wing or something, East Wing or whatever, where the vice president lives, let me in that area there, maybe where the janitor or the gardener stays. I'll stay in there. I'll mow the lawn. So just let me in. That's all I care for. Just let me in the air conditioning. You know what I'm saying? So let's see. What else we can have going on, JT? We've had the Patriot Push-up Challenge going on. That has been interesting. I have a channel called Gen Expert, and it's where I'm an expert on Gen X, basically is what it is. And it started where I was just talking about, I would spend like 20 minutes or something, 25 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever, talking about being an expert, just talking about different problems that our age group, has, 50 and older, with transitioning into the next phase of life, kind of like what we do here, but kind of different. I don't talk about the military aspect of it as much on that channel. But just talk about transitioning and things that are changing health wise, staying fit, staying in shape, staying healthy. Dealing with the younger the world, the young world pushing us out. You know, you know, I know now how my grandparents felt, or my parents probably felt when I got older, or my generation got older, and everything kind of starts changing. I talked last week about, not last week, the week before last, before the Ashley interview. I talked about, you know, seeing people at the World Cup and stuff. They're showing these movie stars and people that are famous that I don't recognize their face, I don't recognize their name, and that's how you know you're getting old, is when you start not recognizing people that the TV just shows. At these sporting events and stuff, you're like, I don't know who that is, and then they show the name, like, I don't know who that is, and they say, well, he's a singer, and I don't know who that is because I haven't listened to music since the '90s. Um, I just listen to talk radio, and every now and then some Creedence Clearwater Revival. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then you got to get that CCR in, but which my kids love too, in fact. So we got the Patriot Push-up Challenge going. I decided to do that because of America 250, and I actually announced it on this show, and I was like, hey, why don't we do 31 push-ups for 31 days for the month of July, which is 31 days. Why don't we do that, and I'll do it on camera. And so I kind of committed to that, and so I started doing it on camera on my Gen Expert channel, which I'll put a link in, and it's been a challenge to say the least, and I have 4 days left. 4 days after. What is today? Today's Tuesday. 3 days left after today. 3 days left after today. I'll be so glad. Now I've gotten stronger. But when it's 100 degrees outside and you have to go outside and shoot a video and you have to do push-ups, it can be challenging. And it can be challenging to do every day because then you got to edit some and, put my logos in and all that stuff. And I'm about to lose my iPad. So we'll switch over to the paper. So anyway, what else we got? Push-up challenge be done. You can join me on that channel and you can finish up with this. It's been a ride, but when we get done with the push-up challenge, it's kind of taken over the channel. The channel was supposed to be like me talking about life and everything, and doing little messages. And I've been doing messages after the push-ups, but they've been, some of them, it's kind of getting diluted now because a message every day is kind of hard to do. Kind of running together, So the channel is originally supposed to be once a week, kind of like this one is. And then that way, the message, I'll have time to formulate a message, pray about it and all that stuff. So, but every day it just gets difficult. Some days I just go in there and do push-ups and talk a little bit, and it's like 4 minutes. Some days it's 10 minutes. It just doesn't know. So we're glad when that's over this week. Finishing up on that. But when we get done with that, I'm starting a new show called One More Round. I'll put it up on the screen too. And you've heard me talk about this. It's One More Round. And it's I'll be co-hosting that show with my friend Josh, who's on vacation. And let's see if we can get old Josh on the line. What do you think? He's on the beach. He's on vacation on the beach. Let's see if we can get him on the line. Let's see. Invite him. Let's see. Remove this invite. Oh man, we're not gonna be able to do it. So I gotta have his email address. Wait a minute, I could do it this way. Yeah. Let's see if he answers. You think he will? There we go. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he chimes in. This is the first for our channel. This is the first for the 214 podcast, doing a live on the beach interview with the co-host of the One More Round, Josh Wisdom. and he's with his wife, and he probably won't click on the link. I sent him a link to join the podcast, but we'll see. We'll see how he does. He probably won't do it. But anyway, so one more round is it's going to be a podcast where I'm a co-host. We're going to do it kind of like talking head on the computer at first, and we're going to do that for a while, and then we're trying to get a studio set up where we can both be in the same room at the same time, and I have to get another camera, and he has to get a microphone, get set up and everything. So we'll probably do it this way for a while, and then I don't know how long a while is, and then if we ever get a place set up where we can do it in person, we'll do that. Walmart now, we're in the land of Walmart up here in Northwest Arkansas. We're in the land of Walmart, and Walmart now has podcasting studios in the Walmarts. Like you walk in the door, you know how you used to turn right, and there was like an eye center there. Well, now when you turn right, there's a podcast studio there that you can rent. And so if you're not set up, like I'm set up for me, but not for two people or a guest or anything. So if you're not set up, you could go in there, and I don't know how they do it. I need to go find out. But you can go in there and you can rent a podcast studio time, and you can do your podcast. So Josh and I could go in there and we could do our thing for an hour, but they have a glass wall up, so everybody walking around shopping can see you doing your podcast. I don't know if they can hear you, but they can see you. So, and they have one of those in Springdale, and they have one I know in I think Nashville, somewhere in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's the only two that I know about. So I don't know if they're planning on doing this more, and they're through a different company. There's a company that's involved with it too. I can't remember the name of it, but he's not clicking on, so he's probably in the water or something, or I know he's not at the bar because he doesn't drink, but he's probably in the water or sleeping on the beach or something. And I gotta say, it's pretty lousy to go on vacation. This is probably his second vacation this year when I'm stuck here on the farm in the heat, weed eating. So anyway, he'll be back next week, and then we're going to try to get that show going, and it's going to be he I've talked about this before. He's a kinesiology guy. We're going to talk about like men's fitness, men's health, over 50, getting stronger and building mass, and creatine and all kinds of stuff, protein, creatine, all the kinds of teens that you can think of, and lifting weights in different ways. He's just got a lot of information. He's a trainer, and he knows a lot about that kind of stuff. So we'll talk a lot about that. We're going to have guests on the show eventually. For now, we'll probably put most of the guests on this show, just because unless they just want to. I have a few guests that I think would be better for that show that I'll probably push over on that show. So that's what I want to do there. We're part of the Pro Talk Media platform, which is my platform that I started. It's a podcast network, and eventually the shows, when you click, will have our own website and everything. It won't just be YouTube. Don't want to just depend on YouTube for this channel or any channel. I want to have my own landing page, my own website. Now I have several different shows, Christian-based, family-based shows. They won't all talk about Christ or the Bible or anything like that. They will just be family, wholesome stuff. And so if any of you are out there and you have a podcast or you want to be on a podcast, give me a shout on here, or send me an email or whatever. Rick Carmen at protonmail.com. I think it'll be in the show notes, and you can send me an email, and we can get you kind of set up, and we'll get you up in there. And we're starting with we're grandfathering some people in, so people that get in on the ground floor, the people who get in on the ground floor will be able to not be charged. And then later on, when we're up and moving and we got sponsors and stuff, I'll be taking 20 or 30% from the podcast. So that's kind of standard. So Josh just texted me he's driving. So right, I'm sure he's driving. He just doesn't want to come on the show. But anyway. So anyway, let's see. Let's see what else we got. That's it about one more round. So when we get close to that, I'll let you know. What I'll probably do is bring Josh on this show and we'll do a small little interview with Josh and talk about one more round before we kick it up. And so if that's something you want to be interested in, we're going to want to interview pastors and people like that. Just to kind of get up and running. School is starting back. Is it me? School is just like summer's too short. It's only August. School starts like August 3rd or something, or August 11th, somewhere there. We still got a month of summer left. I still got things to do. I guess I still got yard work for these kids to do. We haven't even got to go swimming yet this summer. The SEAL won't invite me swimming again because I declined one time, and then now he won't invite me anymore because he's doing other stuff. He has a job and everything. These people with jobs, man, drive me crazy. So school is starting, and I've noticed they've finally started because they don't. It's weird these days. They don't have like books anymore. They don't have books anymore. They just use computers and papers. They don't even have homework anymore. Man, when I was in school, we had a stack of books this high. Our backpack was full. We had to use lockers. These kids don't even use their lockers anymore. And we had to use lockers because our bags were so, and we had homework every night. And these kids don't have none of that stuff. I don't get it. But so now they have to get these laptops from school. Well, they haven't even contacted the parents or anything to get laptops, and their school's like a week away, So I don't know what's going on with that. I have noticed they do everything through their Facebook page. So if you don't have Facebook, you're kind of screwed as a parent. But I noticed they've been they have a high turnover, at least around here, of teachers. Like they've added like 4 or 5 coaches, 3 or 4 new teachers. I think this school, everybody just leaves as soon as they get a chance. That's what I think. But probably because of the bell schedule. Last year they had a bell schedule. They had 3 or 4 different bell schedules. They had a main bell schedule, and then they had 3 different ones. 2 different AM and a PM. And then you wouldn't know the bell schedule until, a lot of times until that day. JT, can you check on that noise? We got some noises in the studio, I think. Is there some kind of animal whining? Can you do something about that for me? Thank you, JT. He may not be a great producer, but he sure is a great runner, like a little assistant. So the bell schedule. School starting is too early, and we haven't been on. So I had all these plans this summer to get stuff done, right? I just had plans to get all this stuff done, and I felt like I've gotten nothing done. And I got to admit, I've gotten off the 1% rule a little bit just because it's been so hot. But I had these plans. I was going to build a big fence for these dogs, and I was going to do all this stuff. And it rained. First of all, it rained for like a month straight, so that was bad. And then it would then I had to mow, and then so it would stop raining for 2 days. I would mow, and then start again, and blah blah blah, and all. It kept doing that over and over. So I was just mowing, waiting and mowing, waiting and mowing. So I haven't really got anything done that I wanted to do. I have a small, tiny house that I'm trying to renovate for a podcast studio, and for my parents to stay in when they come up. Haven't gotten really around to that. I can't get anybody to come work on it, first of all. So I'm going to have to do all the work. And I'm not very good at doing that kind of stuff. It takes me forever. And then it's at a different place on the property. So I have to go down there and mow down there, which is another full like yard, several acres. Okay. So it's just this summer has not been what I thought it was going to be. And now it's over because now my help is going to school. So now I'm stuck with myself doing this, and we still got August to go. So maybe we'll get to go swimming or something. We'll see. Maybe I want to try to do some stuff for these kids to leave. I want to try and I want their high school years to be like memorable with their family. I don't want them to leave here and go off to college or wherever they're going to go, military, whatever, and say, man, yeah, my childhood wasn't that great. Talk to their therapist or something and say my childhood wasn't that great. Well, because we didn't get to go anywhere. We have all these animals that we can't leave. We can't leave, so we don't get to go many places unless we can find somebody to come stay with them, and nobody wants to come stay with them. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should just get rid of all the animals. But we love our animals. Um, I've been trying to lose weight this summer. I've been stuck. I lost a bunch of weight, and then I got stuck. Is that happening to you? I mean, I've been stuck on this weight loss at the same spot for months now. I don't know if you can hear that, but I got dogs pitter pattering everywhere around here. But I've been stuck at the same weight now for months, and I know I'm not doing enough cardio, and I'm probably not eating. I know I'm not eating as good as I should, so I'm trying to change that. So it's just kind of been. I thought I was going to be outside a lot, kind of working it off, but it's just so hot. I've been kind of afraid to go outside. When you get older, you have to be careful. You're not young anymore. So you have to be careful with the heat and all that stuff and everything. So we've been going to the gym and stuff, but that's just doing lifting weights and everything. So I got to get on the treadmill. I got to start doing more walking, and I got to get. I'd like to get another 10 pounds gone before September, by the start of September. That's what my goal is. Maybe we'll talk about that on this channel later. Is the September goal? I'm going to write that down. September. What else is going on this summer? The stupid Iran thing. Let's talk about Iran. The stupid Iran thing is killing me, man. We need to crap or get off the pot. I mean, it was all fun and games, when we were bombing everybody and everything. It was great, but gas prices are still going up. Food prices are up. I can't even buy a Coke and a candy bar for less than $10, which I shouldn't be buying either one of them, but still, it's just ridiculous. We go to Chick-fil-A. It costs us over $50 to eat at Chick-fil-A. And I'm sick of Chick-fil-A, by the way. I'm just tired of it. But you can't go out to eat anywhere for less than $50 for 3 or 4 people, And so we don't eat out that much anyway, usually after church or whatever, but it's just expensive. It's just so expensive. So President Trump, if you're out there, get it together, man. Get it together. Get this done with. Do whatever you got to do. I don't care. Just get it together. And the midterms are coming up, so you better get this figured out. Let's see here. Football's coming up, man. ESPN's making all these cuts. It's so funny. Everybody's crying, you know. ESPN's making changes because they're so political. Do you get that figured out, JT? What's up with all that noise? Anyway, he's Charlie Brown on me. So ESPN, I guess I've stopped watching ESPN a long time ago just because they're so political. They don't care about sports; they just care about political agendas. And but apparently they got new ownership or something, and they're cutting these political people out, and there's a lot of crying going on. The main thing that's happening with me in football this right now is the Arkansas Razorbacks. Yes, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the Cleveland Browns of the NCAA. We got this new coach, and they all come in here full of vinegar, and and they think they're going to change the world. I'm going to be the one to bring the Razorbacks to glory. We really have never had glory. We shared a national championship in the 60s. And that's all they ever talk about. But this guy, he's like, I'm going to bring the Razorbacks to glory. They all say that, we had Bobby Petrino here. I mean, he was walking with Satan and everything, but he was probably the best football coach we could have had, and they sent him away. And so now we're stuck with this guy who has never coached in the SEC. And by the way, the SEC is not the best conference. I don't care who says it's not anymore. Everybody here always says that, right? SEC is the best conference. No, it's not. Not anymore. It's not. It's Big Ten or whatever the conference is where Ohio State's in. Big Ten, I think. That's the best conference. This conference used to be the best, but it's not anymore. So they need to quit saying that, And then they say Arkansas is going to be bad this year because we have the hardest schedule in America. Well, yeah, when you suck, you do have the hardest schedule in America because every team can beat you. So I don't think that's a good reason. And it's just funny to see. I love this time of year because everybody's so, and even I do sometimes get so, positive and like, let's go get them, and then we lose to, I don't know where state in the second game or something. And then it all goes downhill. I'm predicting 2 wins this year, just like last year. We'll see how it goes. We're on the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas. So, I'm go Sooners. That's what I got to say. That's what I got to say about that. So that's football. We'll talk a little bit more about that when football season comes around. I never wanted to have, I would have had, and I may have sometime a sports show on podcast, but sports podcasts are so diluted, and there's so many idiots out there talking about sports that shouldn't be talking about sports, and there's just so many, so much stuff out there. It's just like, why waste my time talking about it? But I may just do it one time. Maybe me and Josh will do it for fun on another channel or something. Let's see. Oh, so I got this friend. I say he's a friend. He's more of a mentor to me. His name is Tom Smith, and he's a pastor, Tom Smith. Not only is a pastor, but he's a colonel in the Air Force. He was a colonel in the Air National Guard, colonel, chaplain. I think he was a state chaplain, if I'm not mistaken. He can correct me later if I'm wrong. Tom Smith, and he's kind of a mentor of mine. He's just a great Christian man, obviously. He's one that walks the walk. He's not an Alan Richardson. He's the guy that he walks in faith. And I've talked to him a lot in my journey with this podcast and with just studying the Bible in general and the Word of God, because I value his opinions and everything. And I don't get to talk to him much, just on LinkedIn, because I think he's living. I'm not sure where he lives now, but anyway, he's not living anywhere near here. But he's written several books. He's written like 3 books. He's working on another one right now. And let me show you this. A Light in the Darkness, a True Story by Tom Smith. Let's see if I can see that. And I've read half of this book. I'm sorry, Colonel, I haven't got to read because I've been so busy, haven't got to read all of it. But I am gonna finish it. But I've read half of this book, and it's a great story about redemption, and it's about, I think redemption might be the word. It may not be the right word, but he had a rough childhood. I didn't know this is basically this first book anyway is uh his childhood, his upbringing, and I didn't know he was a orphan, and he had a rough childhood with abuse and stuff like that. And I know I can say that because it's in the book. So I mean, why wouldn't I be able to? But he overcame that with the glory of God, and God brought him out of the darkness and into the light. And it was just a great story, and a tearjerker, especially when you know the individual. And I can picture him, and I'm picturing him as a kid, and it's a great little read, and it is sad in some places, because I had a wonderful childhood, and a lot of times I'm not going to feel guilty about that. I had great parents. I had a great upbringing. So, although I was, I did live in some sketchy areas, but that just makes for some good stories. But, but my dad, I mean, he's a man's man. He figured it out. He supported his family, and we ended up, you know, doing very well because of him. So, and my mom, she worked too. So anyway, so this is a great book, and I'll put a link to this. I'll put it on the screen probably, and I'll link this to Amazon. I'll get me some skin if you buy this on Amazon. I'll give me some doubloons. You know what I'm saying? So buy this on Amazon. Go down to my link down there and buy it. It's a great story by Tom Smith. If you're into redemption stories, or just just a story about a young boy or a man finding Jesus, this is a great book. And the reason I'm saying all this is I'm hoping to have him on the show at some point. And today, I think he's having some procedure or whatever. So we're praying for you, Tom. And then, so anyway, I hope I have him on the show to talk about this book. And then this book here, I haven't read any of this yet, but I was kind of looking through it. It's called Joy Comes in the Morning, God's Healing Grace in Our Grief, Tom Smith. And so I was looking at this, and this looks like like maybe like a prayer journal or something, something like that, where you go through, he talks about his journey through grief, grappling with grief. So maybe he lost somebody in his life. I'll have to finish reading this book. Maybe I'll find out. And then this, I think, is it looks like it's dealing with grief. It says grief is something we all experience from time to time. And so often the greater the loss, the deeper the grief. Joy comes with mourning. With the morning, takes a look at grief. Oh, Joy Comes in the Morning, which is the name of the book, takes a look at grief and how to work through it. The author shares God's grace, enables us to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and how to find joy in the midst of sorrow. So if you're dealing with grief, go find this book by Tom Smith, my friend and my mentor and my colleague, and my brother. And go find this if you're dealing with grief. Find this book, and it might help you. It always helps to read about or talk to or watch somebody on a show like this that's going through something that you're going through, because you know that you're not alone. And that's one of the reasons I do this show and I do the other show, is because I want to maybe resonate with somebody that's going through the things that I go through. And maybe I can't help them, but maybe it'll show them that they're like everybody else. Everybody has issues. Everybody has problems. Everybody's going through something, is what they always say. And so by doing this show and the other shows that I do, I hope that that's something that I can give you, the viewer, is, hey, that guy is going through the same thing I'm going through, and look at him, and stuff like that. Not that I'm doing better than anybody else, but you know, just something, something to say, oh, I'm not alone out there. So, so if you're going through grief, maybe you want to check this book out. So he's written a third book, and the third book is Songs of the Soul. I have looked through this, and I don't know. I this is songs and pictures that he took photos himself. Now they are black and white. I wish they were in color, but now the songs, I don't know. I haven't looked much at this book. I don't know if he wrote these songs or if these are psalms from the Bible. It looks like they might be from the Bible, just at a quick glance. He has some commentary, I think, in there, and then the songs. I don't know if you can see that, but the songs are kind of laid out. The songs are laid out, and so, man, it's a thick book too, and it's a big book. So maybe it's from Songs of Solomon or something from David era. And he's got pictures. Like, here's a picture. See, it's in black and white. So I wish it was in color, but so anyway, check this book out. I'll have all three of these listed underneath where you can buy them on my Amazon thing. And then he's agreed, when he gets the fourth one ready, he'll let me know, and I'll purchase that. I bought all these books because they're such good books, and I also bought the. You can also get them on Kindle. So if you want to buy them on Kindle, because sometimes I have to read on Kindle because I read late at night when my wife's sleeping or something like that. So anyway, I'm hoping to have Chaplain Smith come on at some point and talk about his life and his books. And I think it would just be a wonderful interview. I know we had a great interview with Ashley last week, and I think he would be an outstanding interview. And so I'm trying to get him come on. I don't know. We may not be, he might be kind of too important for our show with books and everything, but I'll see if he'll come on. So, also have another friend of mine that I'd like to get on is Jennifer Bowman, and she is a great Christian and just a great vessel for the kingdom of God. She runs the S.D.N.Y project, which I think is a play on Isaiah 6 or Isaiah 8, something like that. I'll have to look it up. I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. But she runs the S.D.N.Y project, and she actually is, I think, a co-founder of that, where they send youth people to Brazil, and she goes to Brazil all the time. And she also used to own a gym that was just full of the Holy Spirit, in a local area where I'm at. And she's a great Christian. And so at some point, I've talked to her. At some point, I'd like to have her on the show. So I don't know if I'm going to have her on like this or if I'm going to wait until we can do it in person, because she's just a wonderful individual, and she's just full of the grace of God and the Holy Spirit. So we'll have her on at some point. So that's some of the guests that I'm looking at having on. Just off the top of my head, I've got several other that I've got lined out. So if you don't, put in the comments if you'd rather see a guest or if you'd rather me do something like this. Um, Sometimes I feel like listen to me talk for an hour and a half is not really advantageous for anybody, but this is my show and I'm going to do it. So got to do something right. And I brought up Tom Smith because This week I was talking a lot on my other channel about legacy, and with the passing of Lindsey Graham, Congressman Lindsey Graham, I was thinking about legacy because he was in the middle of working. He was working on the Ukraine and Russia peace thing, and he was working a little bit on the Iran thing. And I was thinking, man, they were talking about stories about him, and they were saying, you know, he we're sorry for his loss, for losing him and everything, but we're taking a hit in the at work with this guy because he was usually the one that was trying to bring both sides of the aisle together. He was kind of the mediator between the Democrats and the Republicans. He would always be able to talk to people because he never hated anybody, he always said. And so John Kennedy says that too. But so when he died, the progress that there was happening in Ukraine and Russia, and also in the things he was doing in Iran, and he was working on some other thing. I can't remember the name of it. That has to do with the voting rights or something. I don't know. He was working on something else. And so anyway, they took a big hit losing him. And I was thinking, if I died, would who's going to miss me besides my family, And so I was wondering about legacy. I was thinking about legacy, and I was like, I don't, you don't want your legacy like Tom Smith. His legacy is not being, let me get the right book here. His legacy is not what happened before he came to Christ. His legacy is not really his being abused or being an orphan, right? That's not his legacy. His legacy is finding Jesus Christ. His legacy lies with his love of the Lord, and the fact that he's walking with the Lord, and the fact that he overcame these things, not because of him, but because of Jesus Christ. So that's his legacy. And I think it's fair to say that if he were here, he would say, yes, I would love that to be my legacy as a lover of Jesus Christ. Much like the Duck Dynasty guy, Phil Robertson, I think his name, Phil. His legacy is bringing people to Christ and baptism of people. They called him. They used to call him John the Baptist because he would baptize people in the woods and stuff. And it would bring, he brought millions, thousands of people. He brought the gospel to them. He may not have brought them to Christ, but he at least presented the gospel to them. So that's kind of his legacy. His legacy used to be duck calls and hunting, right? But now his legacy's kind of like he's a doer. He's a vessel for Jesus Christ. He's the carrier of the gospel and a presenter of the gospel to people that need it. That's his legacy. So his job was making duck calls. His job was, that. But his legacy became one of that, a messenger for Jesus Christ. So I thought I've been thinking a lot about my legacy, and in anybody's legacy, like Kyle Busch, he died a couple of months ago, and his legacy is race cars and racing. But he wasn't, nobody will come out and say this, but he wasn't that great of a dude. Everybody that raced with him, they always have a story like, well, yeah, we used to fight a lot. Nobody said, well, he was not one person said he was the nicest guy. They say he was nice to his family and his fans, but who isn't? That's what, Jesus always said, it's easy to be nice to people that are nice to you, but you need to be nice to your enemies. That's how you show that you're walking with Jesus, right? So anyway, but his legacy is racing. It's not anything else. So I thought, man, I don't want my legacy to be like Michael J. Fox's legacy is used to be acting, and he's a super nice guy. And he's done a lot for people with Parkinson's, but his legacy is going to be Parkinson's. And I think about people like that, and I was like, do they really want their legacy to be a disease, or do you want your legacy to be what you do for a living? He was a great guy, or he was he was a great football player, or he's a great lawyer. But that's about it. Is that what you want your legacy to be, or do you want your legacy to be? I brought my kids up in a Christian household, and I changed the way my family views Christ, and I changed the way my future generations of my family are going to enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what you want your legacy to be. Now, Lindsey Graham, his legacy is his work, and I heard he was a great guy. He adopted his sister after his parents died, and but his legacy, no matter how you slice it, it's going to be his work, because he did great things. And you can have a great legacy for your work, but you just got to ask yourself if that's what you want your legacy to be. And when you're gone, who's going to miss you? Is there going to be a gap in your community because you did so much for your community? Is there going to be a gap at work because you did so much at work, like Lindsey Graham? What is your legacy going to be? And as we get older, we think about that kind of thing, or I do anyway. Think about what my legacy is going to be. And I don't know. I really don't know what my legacy is. I know it's not going to be work. I could tell you that right now, because when I was working, I wasn't that great at it. And now I'm not working. So my legacy is not going to be work. So I want it to be a great lover of Jesus Christ. I want it to be a father and a husband and someone that told people about Jesus Christ. That's what I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be someone who was a vessel for Jesus Christ and for the Word of God. That's what I want my legacy to be. Will it be that? I don't know. And we will never know until we're gone, right? So many times we don't choose what our legacy is, but you can choose what you do every day. When you get up every day, the decisions you make every day. The decisions you make are where you're at right now is because of whatever decisions you made in life. So if you're in a bad way, and not all the time, I guess, because people are unlucky, like Tom Smith, when he was younger, no decision he made could change what kind of situation he was in. Although he made a decision to follow Jesus Christ, and then that changed his situation. Or not. Maybe it didn't. Maybe that was just, who knows, right? We don't know what changed the situation, but we know he made a decision to follow Jesus Christ, which made him a pastor, which allowed him to, preach the gospel, and allowed him to become a officer in the military and a respected individual. So a lot came from that decision. So we make decisions every day that kind of form who we become and where we end up. So just remember that when you're making a decision, how's this decision going to affect me in the future? So let's see. I guess that's all I had today. I was going to talk about, I think I talked about everything out of order, but anyway, just think about your legacy. Think about what you're doing every day. Think about how you want to be remembered, and live your life that way. Live your life how you would want to live it, and how you'd want people to remember you. Do you want them to remember you as a lazy person, or do you want them to remember you as someone who, man, that guy never sat down. He worked hard. He always did a good job, or whatever. How do you want to be remembered? And remember how you have to take steps to do that, to become that person, or to be remembered in that way. because we're all going to be remembered. It's just a matter of what's our legacy and what is it going to be. But that's all I've got for today. You got anything else, JT? JT doesn't have anything else today. So next week, it'll either be me or it'll be my friend Bill Dumas, who's leaving a great legacy. His legacy is going to be, he's probably one of the kindest people I've ever met. And that's why he's my brother, my friend. And his legacy, I can tell you without a doubt, is going to be kindness, generosity, and just an overall great guy. That's going to be his legacy. And I think he'd be okay with that. So, and a family man. So, I'm hoping I can get him on next week. Just depends on his schedule. If not, it'll be me next week, and then maybe we'll get him on the week after. So, hey, we're just winging it here. We're in charge of the world. We don't have to answer to anybody, right? So we could do whatever we want, you know. So if I could have got Josh on a day, would have had Josh on a day, but he was driving. So maybe we'll get him on next week. If we don't have Bill on next week, maybe we can get Josh on next week. He drives around and he does a lot of stuff in town and stuff. So maybe we can get him to do a little short hit. But so I'm Rick Harmon. You've been watching 214 Podcast. And as we like to say here, until next time, stand strong in the faith, act like men, and be strong. Is that right? Is that how it goes? Yeah, something like that. 1 Corinthians 16:13. Look it up. See you later.